no one tells you that it feels like your heart is breaking, or heartache, or anxiety, or depression, or as though you're breaking. Why does a spiritual awakening or Kundalini awakening feel so painful? In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why this happens. So, we're in a state, we start to feel something change within us. And whether it is a pure Kundalini awakening, pow, Shakti, shoots up the spine and gives us this massive surge of energy. Or whether it's brought around by overstimulation of dopamine, that our brain has too much and gives us this kick in the butt saying, wake up, and leads you into sort of like a life crisis, which leads to opening and a more normal spiritual awakening. But so why is it so painful for some people? This boils down to one of two things. And these two things are very closely related. Now, the first one is easy to explain. We simply have an energetic block within the system. It hits a granthis, it hits a knot, it doesn't flow freely. So we have to work on clearing those blocks energetically, release them, release up past traumas, past tensions, and then it can flow. That's the easy one. But those stem from something else, and this is the second one. It's said very clearly, unfortunately, it has become misinterpreted. I talk about this in my chakra video. Go check that out on my channel if you want to go deeper into the chakras and why this has happened. But it's stated very clearly in yoga and in tantra that before, not to awaken the chakras, we must overcome. No, we must overcome before activating the chakras. Now, whether we are talking about the physical location of the chakras or whether we are just talking about a more general spiritual awakening, as opposed to that Shakti energy rising up the spine, there are three things we must overcome. The root is fear. The sacral chakra is desire. And the solar plexus is ego. Egoic principles based on our program that has been created by external factors. Because everything you believe doesn't come from you. It comes from external factors, putting things in. Since you were born, those things have been put into you. Everything you believe is false. Every religion, every political idea, everything you think is false. From the point of the one. Because that has come from other people's ideas, other people's perspectives. If we overcome fear, desire, and ego, we release those energy blocks, those traumas. This is why they are so closely related, these two principles. Now, this is all very well said. It's very easy to say. But how does one go about this? You are most likely right now living from the perspective of the ego and the monkey mind. This thing seems to be enormous. But the thing that is enormous is not actually the monkey mind. It is the projection of the monkey mind which seems enormous. We'll go deeper. If I ask you, how big is your individual consciousness? Your mental body, how big is it? Is it as big as your head, or is it bigger? Perhaps if you feel it, you might say, well, it's about 0.5 meter in diameter. Others may say 3 meters. For very advanced intermediates, they may say, well, it's about 30 meters. For advanced practitioners, the answer will be, it has a horizon which I cannot see beyond. It is infinitely large. And depending on where you are, you may answer one of those. So you also understand with work how big it can become. Now let's take your beliefs, your programming, your monkey mind. And it can appear to fill that entire space, or a large portion of it. But that is a projection into that space. So how big is the projector? Now, comparatively to that infinite space of consciousness, individual consciousness, not collective consciousness, we're not even going there in this video. How big is that projector? Well, if you actually take the time to focus, most people will say it's about the size, somewhere between the size of a pea and a peanut, within that vast space. And you'll soon come to realize that it's not even at the center of that space. It's in some obscure little side projecting out. When you realize that you have been looking out of this tiny little pea-sized thing, ignoring the rest of your individual consciousness that is from at least 0.5 meter in diameter to infinitely large. The monkey mind, your program, suddenly seems infinitely small. And that's because it is. And then if you observe from outside of the monkey mind, outside of that peanut, if you observe that pea, that peanut, within this vast space, you're outside of it. Where is your fear? Where are your desires? Where are your egoic principles? So if we come to realize our individual consciousness is this vast expanse, and we have been looking out from this tiny little pea for so long, being controlled by it, letting it run our life, good and bad, dualism, fear, desires, everything that our society plays upon, our fears, our desire, or our ego. Marketing is developed around this. Politics is developed around this to control you. Religion is developed around this to control you. Even the ideas of money, fear, desires. When we understand that all of that goes on in this tiny little pea, this tiny little peanut, and everything is being played out from there, things can be very painful within that tiny little pea if we don't let ourselves step outside of it. All this energy from just our individual consciousness as it starts to activate, being compressed into that tiny little space. You understand why this can suddenly feel anxious. You can feel physical representations of pain within your heart, within your lower back, within your head. Because you're trying to hold it in. You're stuck in that little area. As soon as you step outside that pea into this vastness, you're able to let go of the fear. You're able to let go of the desire. You're able to let go of your egoic principles. Suddenly, how connected do you feel? Where's the pain gone? If you still feel pain, you must understand that whilst you're outside that pea, for some reason, you're still very connected to that pea. You have a very strong bond with it. So you need to cut that connection to it. From here, we just need to now, from having this held within our conscious consciousness, we must practice all day, every day, holding this state so we do not get sucked back into the pea, trapped in that little cage within us, causing us that pain, seeking pleasures, desires, to distract us from being stuck, to not seek higher levels of awareness. If we practice this, perhaps you start with 5 minutes every day, then 10 minutes every day, then an hour every day, then 3 times a day, until you create the habit of being within this vast space of your personal consciousness rather than stuck in the projector, the P. We turn it into unconscious consciousness. Instead of conscious consciousness, unconscious consciousness through practice. We are able to embody what we can term a spiritual awakening. We feel a sense of enlightenment. We feel lighter. What happens to the pain? This is the problem that most people contact me with. When they contact me with problems about Kundalini awakenings, spiritual awakenings, difficulties going through the process, this is the thing they have not embodied. And as soon as they embody it, clients all around the world that contact me with this, As soon as they embody this and they accept this and they do the work and they bring it into unconscious consciousness and they live within this vast space rather than being trapped inside that that prison, their life changes. And because so many people contact me about this, this is why I've made this video, for you to understand this. It is a very powerful piece of information. If you choose to accept it, embody it, understand it, process it. From here, we can then start to connect to a sense of awe, a sense of wonder, a sense of unconditional love, which means no condition, not one, towards anything. It connects us to our voice of truth, meaning discernment over egoic ideologies. It connects us in time to our sense of intuition, to our sense of oneness. We've overcome duality. We understand that karma simply means action. There is no good or bad anymore to do with karma. And then we get to connect our individual spans of consciousness to higher consciousness, the collective consciousness. If you're interested in taking this further, go to theawakenenergy.com. Come train with me. Let's go on the journey together. And if this has answered your question, you don't need any more, that's absolutely awesome. Subscribe to the channel for more. Remember, if you engage with the video, so by liking it, by sharing it, by leaving a comment on the video, it will enable the understanding that you like this video, and so it will show you more of my content. So by engaging, by liking, by commenting, by sharing, it means you will in return get given more of my content. It helps also to share this content with others, either directly because you're sharing it with people, or because the video will be shown to other people. So it helps you and it helps the video. So other people can also be helped by the video. See you in another video.